Hello, everybody, and welcome to Business TV this week with Dave Gregson from I2I4, who's going to be talking to us about loads of stuff that he's got going on at the moment. What I'll do, first of all, Dave, is I'll let you introduce yourself and tell the people what it is you do, I2I4, and what you've got coming up, really.
Thank you very much, Gareth, and thank you very much for the invitation to attend. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been involved with 1 Hour Networking for some time, and this is, really wonderful project you've started up. And
enough about us. Get on, Dave. Tell us about you. That's what we want to know.
Take part. I wanted to say that first, and
Not
right.
So
yes. Well, I'm Dave Gregson, and I have basically several roles. One of them is I run a non-for-profit organisation called Important 2, Important 4. That's the logo behind there. The focus, the ethic with that, the ideology is if it's important to somebody, important to the person, then let's make it important for all of us. It's sort of an anti-selfish, anti-bullying type message. My organisation does work on raising awareness around autism. I'm autistic myself, and I face many of these difficulties growing up in the workplace bullying, and also mental health and wider issues of safeguarding and supporting vulnerable in the community, or those that otherwise may not have their voices heard. I do also write children's and adults books. All my children's books have the anti-bullying messages and a teamwork, kindness, and they're all animal stories. Who doesn't love talking animals? I have my adult genre books, as Gareth's flashing one there, which is once again also support the non-for-profit work, and I've written in general fiction, fantasy, mystery, and also that there's a lot of what I do is sort of incorporated into the themes of the books too. So
I've got another one somewhere. I just can't see it.
You've got
I've got a couple.
You've got the Night of the Sleepoons, and
I just can't see it
the
on
new one as well, which is the collection stories. And I do, as an unpaid carer, also campaign on behalf of carers' rights too. So thank you very much.
Your campaigning does get quite a lot of attention, doesn't it? I mean, you do engage with quite some quite well-known people out there, and one of the things now, you've got an event coming up on the 27th of November which is about against knife crime with Brooke Kinsella. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, thank you, Gareth. Yes, I do have an event. One of the missions of the non-for-profit work is to raise awareness around issues and increase support of the vulnerable and knife crime. So there was unfortunately a large rise in knife crime in West Yorkshire nationally. So that was something I wanted to work on, and that event itself is being hosted by my Important 2, Important 4 and my writing, and it's an online event and it's free to attend, and the guest speaker is Brooke Kinsella, who is the former Eastenders actress and the well-known knife crime campaigner. She also set up the Ben Kinsella Trust following the tragic murder of her brother in a knife crime attack at that time, and it was as a result of that, the murder of her brother Ben, that she set up that work and that trust. And she'll be speaking at the event, and also that there'll be opportunity for questions and answers. To join the event, it's easy one. You can register on Eventbrite you can leave a message through the organisation. So
I'll put a link in the description when I post the videos. And
that would be really helpful.
yeah.
Yes.
So I'll have to get that link off you, and people will be able to book on then and stream. Is it free to attend?
It is free to attend. Yes.
So it's free to attend, and you do have a few other organisations attending as well, West Yorkshire Police, and I think you have a few other charities, don't you?
Yes, that's right. We've got other charity groups attending, and somebody from the Voluntary Action Leeds, who also works in the Violent Crime Reduction Unit, which is a community-based organisation, and somebody from the West Yorkshire Police would.
Sounds really good. And are you going to?
What's the timing of the event, Dave? What time is it on?
Good point.
It's 12 o'clock lunchtime until 2 o'clock, and it's the 27th of November.
Very good.
Okay, and you're gonna be trying to stream that onto your Facebook as well, so that people can see it, and obviously you're going to record it, and it's going to get posted up, so anybody who can't make it for 12 o'clock can catch up with it later.
Yes, of course, anybody can, if they can't make it for 12 o'clock, can join. Will be let in. There's an event organizer I'm working with, so that's all managed, and it will be live streamed, like you say, and available to everyone. And
so the benefit of attending is the fact that you can ask questions, which is the biggest thing, isn't it?
You can ask questions, and you can find out more. Obviously, you can meet Brooke, and it's
going to be good.
It brings people together, and obviously there's no cost to anything. It's just around this issue, because only really with working as communities we can make a positive difference, and we have made a positive difference. It's just with this issue, the more we talk about it, then we can, and people know where support is and what help is out there.
It's a shocking issue that we have to talk about it at all. It's horrible, but
it really is.
We need more awareness of it.
Yes, absolutely. We do need it. It was one nationally that sadly went up. Knife crime incidents. One of my friends at school sadly lost his life in a knife crime incident. So it's actually increased. It's people carrying knives and knives, but there's also lots of work being done on prevention as well. So there's lots of good news stories of organisations that work on this, such as St Giles, St Anne's, Crime Stoppers. So there's good. It's just we obviously need to know more what's happening and what we can do and how we can safeguard and save lives, basically.
The thing is, people don't seem to realize, the people who are carrying the knives and using the knives, is that it ruins their lives as well.
Yes,
it's that split-second decision to do something to look big and clever, but at the end of the day, it's just going to basically ruin your life, and not just because of going to prison or killing someone or even just hurting somebody, but later in your life, these things come back.
Yes, absolutely. Knife, absolutely, knife crime, and actually, there's the realization that even now that within some people that carrying knives is, well, it's not really that big a deal. It's not like carrying it. I mean, offences with firearms are extremely rare, and firearms legislation is extremely strict in this country. People can carry knives, and also there's the all forms of knives carrying are illegal. They are offensive weapons. That isn't always as realised, maybe as much as it could be. And yes, lives are impacted around by such things. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is as well, you go to prison for stabbing somebody. It's not just you now you're in prison, but what about your parents and your relatives who are now affected by the fact that this is happening?
Yes.
You know, it's
Yeah.
people need to stop and think, and
Yes.
and I really don't understand why some people just intentionally hurt others. I've never been able to fathom it, or even animals as well.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a crazy thing, and you know it's well,
Absolutely.
anyway.
And it is very easy to obtain knives legally.
Yeah.
Anyway, and
yeah,
there's the difference between buying all the different sort of fashionable different knives and actually carrying them. It's not.
I'm not sure I like that statement, a fashionable knife. I don't think there is one.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. I think I would agree with you that many knives are themselves marketed almost as fashion accessories, have been marketed that way. So that is an issue as well. Yes, I would certainly agree with you there, Gareth.
So, well, I'll be booking on. I'll come along.
Well, thank you very much.
And have a watch, because it is an interesting topic. But let's go to I2, I4. And your workplace bullying stuff. Now, at the end of the day, we did have a quick discussion beforehand, and one thing I mentioned is I thought there was legislation already in place about workplace bullying. As a ginger Welshman who was in the army for 12 years, I can honestly say that I think some people are too easily offended. Being ginger and Welsh in the army, I've kind of heard everything. I've heard all the sheep jokes you can think of. But you were saying that the legislation isn't that stringent with regards to workplace bullying, and I thought, but you explained to me, because as far as I'm aware, there is rules against bullying people in the workplace.
Well, that's the really important point to stress here, that actually there aren't legal legislation against workplace bullying as a safeguarding issue in any way. With that sense, we have legislation to cover people against unfair dismissal, but that they have to have been with their employer 2 years to qualify for that. We have laws under the Equality Act around race, gender, disability. What we don't have is non-discriminatory bullying targeting somebody in the workplace, which the bully's aim is to cause harm, much in the same way as it is within schools or organizations. It all stems from power, and we don't have that safeguards as yet in the workplace. We do have a harassment, but it, to be honest, succeeds in very few cases. And so the bullying itself, that's what we do need legislation against in the workplace, in the same way as we have safeguarding obligations in the community, at school, with vulnerable adults, with people experiencing abuse. Obviously, not all abuse is physical, and we would expect now that is moved on also to apply to workplaces, because in many ways, and as a comparison, which when I speak with my friend Matt Packness, that basically workplace bullying is in effect domestic abuse at work. It's not, because when you say bullying, if you have legislation, you would then have an obligation to educate, and by education you would then help to prevent, for example, false claims of bullying, or the parameters would be legally defined there and obliged to be followed by employers and employees. And with bullying, you don't even need to within work places, within even such as domestic abuse. Some of it happens without physical contact in the workplace. It's all you have to do is make an allegation against somebody, and you can that, like knife crime itself, has a big ripple effect because it leads to job loss, devastation, a mental health breakdown, suicide. So that is another very serious issue with that. So thank you for those questions there and an opportunity to answer those.
It's a really difficult situation, isn't it, Dave? In that each individual has different levels of what they would perceive as bullying, isn't it? You know, Gareth's already said he's got really thick skin, been in the army, ginger, Welsh. You know, he's got nothing going for him. It's his fault.
Working with you.
But his skin's really thick. Mine might be a lot thinner, you know. So the same comment to me may be very offensive to me, and I would see it as bullying, whereas Gareth wouldn't. And it's so difficult to find that legislation point of what becomes bullying.
Well, I think I'm really glad you mentioned that with such as workplace bullying, as it is, say, with incidences of a definition of make crime or exploitation or what constituted with the workplace, it's in many cases a defined pattern of behavior. It's not so much as the odd jokes. It isn't banter. It's the removal of somebody from praise, exclusion from team events, lack of praise, constant negativity. So it's something which, as it would in other environments, it's done with an intent to harm, and it does cause harm.
I think it's the persistence behind it. I mean, you know, you say, you know, I'm thick-skinned and all the rest of it. Yeah, I am. But if it's constant, then you're kind of going to get. I mean, we've got this case in the Yorkshire cricket situation now, and now finally, thankfully, it's being handled. But you know, it must have been constant and not just because in sport you get a lot of banter.
Yes.
I hate that word banter.
You hate banter.
I hate that word banter. Because banter to one person is another person's persecution.
Yeah, I suppose.
And again, it comes down to levels of ability to take it, if you like, or the thick skin of somebody. And you don't know what that person's going on inside.
That's true. You don't know what's going on in their life, do you? So at the end of the day,
absolutely, another excellent point, and how education is so important. And obviously, with say for example, domestic abuse situations, you've got to say that, well, there was no physical violence involved, or you couldn't really explain that by saying, well, it was just a difference of opinion or a personality clash. No, it was a targeted set of behaviors to demean, harm that person, belittle that person in the same way as. So it isn't a difference of opinion or a banter. The present legislation does allow, though, the ignorance clause as well. We didn't know. Well, you did know, but unfortunately the legislation wasn't strong enough, as it is within all forms of the community. I've worked with vulnerable adults for many years, and we wouldn't once again say, oh no, they were friends, they were just helping out friends, but they were taking money and they were doing it voluntarily. Well, no, they weren't. They were coerced into doing it. So you've got to be very careful around that use.
I think it's amazing what you're trying to do. I really do. I think it's so important.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm going to say it's very hard to define. So you know, it really is, and
but without awareness, Gareth, you can't define it at all.
Exactly, and the thing is, you know, like it's very hard to, when you are like, I am thick-skinned. I have, heard it all, and I don't care, because at the end of the day, you know, when was it a lack of sensibility, a lack of sense, really, with me, because I'm just like, I don't care. I write everything. I take everything. I take people as I find them, and I like, and I will associate with people until they annoy me, or they basically do something to make me think, right, well, I don't particularly trust you now. But then, even then, I find, like, you know, like if I don't get on with a neighbor up the road, for example, which I don't, but I still say good morning or hello. I just won't go out of my way to associate with that person in any way. So when you are thick-skinned, it's like when you hear some stories and people saying, "Oh no, they were teased, or this happened," and I'm thinking, well, you know. So from my perspective, it's just tell them to go away, you know. Whereas in reality, if I wouldn't find myself in that environment or in that situation because I've got such thick skin, for example. Do you know what I mean? It's a really hard one. It's a really difficult one.
Yes.
So I do take my hat off to you, Dave, with regards to what you do.
I really, and this is exactly the real good conversations to have regarding bullying as such. You know, an example within workplaces, you don't need to necessarily touch it, but for example, if somebody accused you of being everything else and it was publicized, you were accused and you hadn't done anything wrong and you were out of your workplace and your job, don't actually need, regardless of your thick skin, people can do things to gaslight people and make them think that they aren't this horrible. So that's the thing. If somebody made a public accusation against me, I could take them to court liable. Within the workplace, it's in many ways versions of that. So that's yes, a really important point.
Yeah, it is. So, should we move on to our normal questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Dave. I must admit, it really is. And as I say, I'll put the link to the event in all of the chat parts of the social that we put it on. And then people...
Thank you. I would just also add that it's important, though, with such issues that many organisations have positive approaches to dealing with these issues, such as being neurodiversity. So it's important to call out. It's important to praise good practice as it is to call out
bad practice.
Bad practice.
I totally agree. I totally agree. We used to, when I was in the army, very quickly, we used to have an Idiot of the Week award, and they stamped it out, because what they found was, actually, by having an Idiot of the Week award, when somebody did something wrong, they wouldn't tell anyone, and it would just go undiscovered for ages because of the fact that they were too not afraid, but they didn't want the ridicule or the Idiot award. It was counterintuitive. They were praising bad behavior and encouraging even worse behavior.
Well, that's it. You can't reward and support and praise positive behavior, positive conduct, if you don't condemn and call out bad practice and say what's on it.
Anyway, right.
So we have a couple of questions that we ask all our guests. I think we've got 4 that we use, but we rotate them. So what we've got for you today, Dave. So this is on the spot mark.
Okay.
So what piece of advice would you give your younger self?
Well, there's a few. I would probably give one of them that would stand out now, is that in life, it is important to learn from mistakes, errors. But what I would say from my younger self and older self is that you don't need to change yourself just to please certain people and always fit around them, which I was certainly vulnerable to years ago, and that's changed with that. So I would certainly advise my older self of that you're whistling in the wind if you're trying to please these people and as such. And That's something I've grown to realise.
Very
Thank
true.
you.
I've always been like that. I've always thought that. I was always the odd one out because of the fact I never conformed to the group culture idea. I was the only one marching in step, let's put it that way.
Well, I did. That's another good. And I suppose now, once again, it's more understanding that, recognise that I was dealing with then narcissists and relationships, and I thought that the more I tried to please them, then the better I was, and so, but
it's not true.
Anymore.
No.
It's not true, and not anymore.
It's lost on them, Dave. It's lost on them.
Yeah. Too wrapped up in their own bubble, really.
Yeah.
People who want you to conform to them, they're too wrapped up in their own world.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. It's good. That's good advice.
Because you've got so much going on in your life, is what you really want to achieve by the end of 2022. So what are you looking to try and get out of next year and come away by December and say, look, I've achieved what I wanted to do?
Right, thanks. Well, once again, I just pick out a couple here. I would like them to be some sort of movement or some sort of action to define in legislation and safeguarding workplace bullying. I think the movement's growing with that, and as a general safeguarding, it is recognised that as it is within other settings, schools, care settings, a community, other services, legal, that there's the safeguarding obligation. I would like to see that and be looking at, or even in legislation, with increased awareness by the end of 2022. So that's one aim I'm very, very happy to share.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I mean, at the end of the day, it would be nice if there was some sort of like health and safety, if you like.
Yes.
So kind of legislation in place with regards to, I mean, with all the mindfulness stuff coming out and all of the mental health stuff that we're now learning more about, because the issues have always been there. But it would be nice to see that be kind of added to the mix, as it were.
Yes, and I would also like to see when people, regardless, because as we know, abuse, all forms of abuse, a domestic workplace affect male, female, all genders, races, and people, regardless, can say, no, I want some help with this. So thank you.
And to wrap us up, Gareth.
Yes.
The apps.
Do what, sorry?
We'll wrap up on the apps because we're going to have to finish soon.
Okay, so the final one. So in your daily life, what kind of apps or productivity tools do you use that could help our viewers? You know, if you've got anything that you think, I use that all the time, it's brilliant, everybody should be using it.
Right. Oh, that's another excellent one. That's yes, I suppose during the COVID, I've been using such as Zoom more. I've been using LinkedIn more. I use online banking, finances, and such. But with my organising, I also use, I suppose, have the system of the 3Ds: deal with it, delegate, or delete it, with that sense. And I try to
like that.
Prioritize, and I use one of the systems that carries over emails in a priority with that. And I also, like I say, I do much such as the finances and as such online, and I use increasingly YouTube with my work. I also use, which I find very helpful, an old-fashioned diary and a whiteboard, which I have my to-do and thing off. So I have that as well. Yeah.
You can't go far wrong, Dave, with an old-fashioned diary. Let me tell you.
You can't. I'm old fashioned. I even write in pencil. But I love the 3Ds, Dave. I love that. Deal with it, delegate it, or delete it. And I think that's really good. Gareth, your email problem that we were talking about this morning, you could apply that to.
Absolutely. I'm definitely going to apply it.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for watching, everybody. Dave, thank you very much for being with us. And good luck with the event on the 27th of November. Yeah, we'll be tuning in. And I will, as I say, put the link for people to register in the socials and stuff like that. So,
brilliant.
Thank you very much for your time.
So,
pleasure to be here.
No worries. Cheers, Dave. Cheers, Gareth. I'll see you later.
Bye.